Hello, I'm the Angry Spork, taking issue with 2002's ThunderCats miniseries. Continuing from where the 80s cartoon left off, evil spirits try defeating the warrior cat people with a guy that could be defeated with your phone's flashlight while saying bibbidi bobbidi boo. So they brought back their MVP of sinister schemes and bandages, Mumm-Ra, the ever-living. Issue 2's cover is fairly simple and unassuming, featuring our main Catman holding his signature weapon in front of the series emblem, standing in a calm manner as if preparing for something.
Can't talk, keeping myself in a state of cat-like readiness.
There's also a ring of energy around him. Someone left their can of Mountain Dew code red on the cover, and they decided to roll with it. There's an alternate cover by Jim Lee, which really just makes Lino look like a human dude. Sure, those lines are probably meant to denote fur, but Lee adds that to all his drawings. It looks fine, just not quite as much like the character. Also, someone in the background with a lot of saliva. Not sure who that is, probably Mumm-Ra, but it's not clear.
Ah, good boy, little drooly.
We begin with a narrated recap by Hachiman, a samurai character who battled Mumm-Ra in his own lair, but because the villain couldn't fight with honor, he lost and ran off, allowing the swordsman to free Lino and Chitara from their imprisonment inside the double-headed Dragon of Doom. Of course, one of the heads swallowed them both, and the other head started saying it wasn't fair, and they spent all night trying to find 2 more Thundercats for him to eat, and it just caused a whole big thing. In the present, he's seeking help from the Lord of the Thundercats. "He's on Thundera, Hachiman. I would be glad to take you there with me." So, where are you two now? Ever heard of an establishing shot? Or at least a caption? This is a problem that can arise with these revivals, especially if they're designed to continue the canon of the show from so many years back. What may be freshly remembered for the writer could be forgotten by a fellow fan of the series that hasn't seen it in a while and leave them confused. Needless to say, this can prove a difficulty for someone totally unfamiliar with the series in the first place. In his pyramid, Mumm-Ra has summoned his mutant henchmen, commanding them to help him do the evil spirit's bidding of destroying the Thundercats.
Your incompetence has wrought too many failures in the past.
And since my evil bosses brought me back after my repeated failures, I thought it only appropriate that I keep you all on, as Mumm-Ra the Ever-Living is nothing if not fair. Also evil.
Slythe accurately points out that with or without them, the wizard can't exactly brag about victory himself, and seems to wield his axe menacingly. However, a magic lightning zap keeps him in line, and he's replaced as second-in-command by Vulture-Man, the first order of this new goon dynamic.
Bring me that upstart Lino.
Tell him he has a new neighbor in town he should meet. He might have bested Mumm-Ra, but he'll never recognize... Mumm, the never-dying.
Tigra arrives in the Feeliner using a new hyperdrive, and his passenger, Hachiman, says his father is sick and needs the healing waters from the Garden of Thundera. Lino's all too willing to help out, but needs Tigra's help in piloting the Feeliner. The Wily twins are disappointed that Tigra can't stay since they haven't seen him in a while, but they're told their human friend needs immediate help. They'll be staying behind to help Panthro. Get in the way, disobey instruction, cause childish mischief that makes everyone's work harder. You know, help. Before they take off, however, Tigra hands Panthro the plans for the communications tower mentioned last issue, and the engineer mentions still working on the beacon. I thought about building a giant laser pointer aimed at our base, but I kept getting distracted somehow. In what feels like quite a leap in time, the mutants are suddenly piloting personalized aircraft and fire on the Feeliner, just as the 3 heroes inside are nearing their destination. Funny, I would think they'd have had some means to detect oncoming missiles and such, but I guess that's why I'm not a man-cat scientist. An obedient but still indignant Slythe follows an order to ground their enemies, striking a wing and forcing them to land. So great time to jump scenes to the base, where the Thunder Kittens check on Panthro's work on the beacon. They're all a little anxious to summon other Thundercats to their new home, though given the unknown number of survivors, it could be months before any arrive. I don't know why Wily Cat is asking the other two if they're coming in the middle of their conversation, especially since there's no indication that they need to be somewhere else. In any event, they leave the lab for wherever, as Panthro mentions needing to mine more Thundrillium soon to replenish their energy reserves.
They would try supplementing their power with windmills, but Lion-O's really slacking on filling out all that zoning paperwork.
Speaking of, we rejoin him, Tigra, and Hachiman as the mutants engage them in battle. Ultraman seems to be the smart one that stayed in his flying machine with weapons, while Monkey and Jackalman have the brilliant idea of waiting around for Tigra to pull a tree down with brute force as a distraction. Seriously, even if you assume greater than human strength, he's clearly open to attack here. But they narrowly avoid being flattened while Tigra goes invisible, clobbers the ape, and scares his buddy off. Sly attacks Hachiman, only to miss and get knocked out.
I don't know this character at all, so maybe there's a pre-established reason from the cartoon as to why he's not taking the lizard's head as a trophy or something. But I think it's more the writer trying to keep this more or less as kid-friendly as the cartoon was.
Also, notice the red translucent line across the panel over his eyes. I guess that Mountain Dew from the cover bled through to the specific page somehow. Much to Beakface's disbelief, his energy blasts are being deflected by Lion-O, and I can see why he's confused. There doesn't seem to be any sign of motion here, or it's just not well represented. In any event, his vehicle is sliced, sending him skidding along the dirt and questioned about his presence on the planet. Ultraman is quick to confess this was under orders from Mumm-Ra, and Hachiman warns there will be some serious vengeance if his pappy dies because of the delay they caused. This sends him, and presumably the other mutants, running off.
The previous issue ended with Mumm-Ra promising his disembodied masters that he wouldn't fail them again. He never said anything about having other people fail in his place.
Lion-O gives his samurai buddy a vial that should hold enough lake water to heal his dad. I guess we have to assume they landed near the lake conveniently enough, since they never actually show it. They then make a call on a Motorola flip phone to Panthro about needing a ride back to Third Earth for Hachiman after the Feliner's damage. They've got a hyper jump ship that'll do the job, and the issue ends on him presenting the ride he'll be picking his comrades up in. An upgraded Thunder Tank.
How toyetic can you get?
He just filled the tank, so with his gas mileage, he'll get about 3 blocks. This was a fun issue, mostly standalone, but had the same problem as the previous one, that the villain's plan wasn't really a threat in the end.
I'm not going to fault the writer for wanting to have the comics be in line with the TV show, but that doesn't mean relying on some of the same tropes and conventions necessarily. Instead of the bad guy standing around waiting for a tree to fall, maybe Tigra pretends to attack Jackalman and Monkeyan with his whip as they move around, missing but hitting the tree, before revealing he was breaking the trunk so it would be easier to pull down. Then they're distracted enough that they don't see him go to stealth mode. Some of the pacing was a little janky, changing scenes rather suddenly, and even small things like Cat trying to rush his sister and Panthro somewhere out of the blue. It just left me a little confused. I also had to piece certain things together myself, like how Thundera isn't simply a kingdom on Third Earth, but an entire separate planet, because I guess I'm supposed to just know this stuff already. Simple recap pages or succinct expository captions are some small things that can make a big difference, not just for people that haven't kept up with the franchise, but also the unfamiliar giving it a shot.
I couldn't blame someone for passing on this out of confusion, especially if they didn't have any nostalgic affection for the series. But I'm reviewing it, so I really don't have that luxury. I'm the Angry Spork. Man, have I got issues.